Over the last years, I reviewed more than 50 blood lab results from successful entrepreneurs and high-achieving individuals. And today, I'm going to give you 5 simple health hacks that actually have a positive impact on your blood work. Welcome to today's video. My name is Marvin, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a health and biohacking coach for high-achieving entrepreneurs. And over the last years, I worked with more than 200 people, including 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs. And if you want to learn more about optimizing your health and performance with biohacking, then subscribe to that channel. Well, now you may ask, should I do a blood count regularly? No, at least not until you've watched this video, because there are 2 major issues with getting your blood work, and it's the needles. No, just kidding. But honestly, I'm one of these guys who sometimes tend to pass out when the doctor gets my blood. But that's not the issue. First is that important parameters are often missing. A full blood count isn't actually a full blood count because a lot of parameters are not included. And don't worry, you will learn also which parameters are important to measure. Second issue is that most doctors just look if your results fall into the reference area. For example, a few weeks ago, a guy called Patrick contacted me for consultation. And previous to our meeting, he made a blood count at his doctor's clinic because he was feeling fatigue all the time without knowing the exact reason. And after the doctor got his results, he told him, yeah, everything is good. Maybe the symptoms are stress related. So you should reduce stress. Thank you, doctor. After I reviewed his results, I noticed that many of his results were on the lower end of the so-called reference area. And the reference area, you have to know, is built by the average results of people who do their blood count. And we know that average is most of the time far away from optimal. And it's still the extreme broad range. For example, for most clinics, the lower end of the reference area for vitamin D levels is 20 nanogram per milliliter. I tried to get my clients around 50 nanogram per milliliter, so almost the double the amount, which brings us already to our first important lesson that I learned after reviewing more than 50 blood panels. And this is that most people are vitamin D deficient. I would say around 90% of the clients that I worked with had a vitamin D deficiency. And let's face it, most of us spend way too much time inside. Even the entrepreneurs that are living in sunny paradises like Miami or Dubai often also spend too much time inside and don't get enough sunlight exposure. And when you're living in a country with a long winter, for a long period, your body just can't produce vitamin D. And what most people don't know, that sun creams, sunglasses and even shower gels can reduce vitamin D production. But why do you have to measure vitamin D if it's so likely that you're deficient? Can I just not take it? Well, the problem is that vitamin D can get toxic because it gets stored. So if you consume too much vitamin D, it can worsen in your health. That's why the easiest way, check your vitamin D levels at least every half a year and then adjust your personal supplementation. Second learning, and now it gets confusing, is that cholesterol is most of the time not the problem. When I did my last blood work at my doctor's clinic, my doctor told me, Marvin, your cholesterol is too high. You should consume less eggs. Thank you again, doctor. First of all is that cholesterol itself isn't bad. For example, your brain needs a lot of cholesterol. Your brain makes just about 2% of the body weight, but needs 25% of your overall cholesterol. The only important difference is between the HDL cholesterol and the LDL cholesterol, especially the ApoB LDL, which can be a risk factor for strokes or heart diseases. But we have to know, eating eggs don't increase dangerous cholesterol, because most of the time eating sugar, seed oils, high processed food as well as bad sleep worsening your lipid profile. So enjoy your eggs for breakfast, at least if you skip the bread and jam with it. Third lesson, stress elevates blood sugar. One important marker to measure in your blood is the HbA1c levels. This shows you the average blood sugar levels over the previous 8 to 12 weeks. So do I tell you now again that eating sugar is bad? No, not necessarily, because there's another potential reason for your elevated blood sugar, and this is chronic stress. To prove you that, I measured with my clients the glucose levels for 24 hours per day for 14 days using a glucose tracker. And I can share you some results from people who didn't ingest any foods, even carbohydrates, and had elevated blood sugar levels when they were highly stressed. Which lead us to our fourth lesson, is that fasting increases stress, specifically cortisol. And this is the reason why fasting has for some people more negative side effects than actual health benefits. For example, lots of my entrepreneur clients have high stress throughout the day. And the last thing that we want to do is putting more stress on the body with some diet forms. And of course, chronic elevated stress levels can lead to weight gain, bad sleep, and many other health issues. To again show you a real life example, this is the cortisol level from one of my previous clients before we worked together. And at that point of time, he was skipping breakfast and just drinking coffee in the morning. And as you can see, no bueno. The fifth learning is to take magnesium. 48% of the US population consume less magnesium than recommended. And recommendations can also be less than optimal. Especially when you exercise and working out regularly, you should consider taking a magnesium supplement. You can also check the levels in your blood. Just make sure that they measure the magnesium in the whole blood, not just in the blood serum, what they do most of the time. And if you then want to supplement with the magnesium, I recommend taking a magnesium threonate or bisglycinate, because these two have a good absorption and positive impacts on your sleep. Magnesium from a grocery store or even sometimes pharmacy oftentimes contain magnesium oxide, and this gets just absorbed about 4%. So make sure you invest in the right magnesium. That's it for today's video. I hope you got some value out of it. If so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to that channel. That's it for today, guys. See you soon.